5 to 10 years ago, I thought I was doing everything right with my money, saving, investing, paying off debt. But every 30 days, it felt like I was just starting over. And then I found something that completely changed everything. I didn't have a money problem. I didn't have a discipline problem. I had a money system problem. My name's Chris Wen, and I used that system to pay off $43,000 worth of debt and build a net worth to multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 4 steps that I used to go from inconsistent months to quiet wealth. Looking back at my journey, there were 4 clear stages that I took to turn my finances around, and every single time I tried to cheat the system and skip a step, I would be brutally reminded to slow my roll. Introducing the 4 stages of money. And it all started 10 years ago when I didn't even know how much money was in my bank account. And this is super embarrassing for someone, me, who went to college for accounting. Ugh, right? I was about to buy a brand new car. I didn't have enough money in my bank account to hand them the check that I had promised them. And this is where I drew the line in the sand to make a change. It was very clear that I was missing one simple element. And that one element was the first step in the 4 stages of money, and I call that awareness. Okay? So most people think that the first step in personal finances is budgeting or investing, and personally, that's when it hit me because you can't fix what you can't see. Think about it in a health and fitness situation. Let's say I wanted to lose 20 pounds, but I refused to step on a scale. Ooh, the stepping on the scale part is the awareness. How do I know what weight I'm at now and what weight I would need to get to in order to lose that 20 pounds, right? So awareness isn't changing anything yet. It's taking the first step to first figure out what's actually going on here. So for me, in the bank account example, this awareness step was simply looking at my bank account, doing the hard thing, the uncomfortable thing of just opening my phone, staring at an app, looking at numbers on a screen, and then closing it. I did that for over 2 months because I didn't know how much money was in there. So I was like, I should probably do the thing that I'm not aware of. And then once you see what's going on, the first instinct is to build the perfect plan, right? But we all know that doesn't exist because this is where most people get stuck. They try to do everything at once. And again, I mentioned like, I need to budget. I need to grow my money. I need to make more money. And then they end up doing nothing because they're overwhelmed. Let me know down in the comments if this is you. And what I realized is, and one of my favorite sayings is, progress is greater than perfection. So as long as we are making small incremental progress every day, every week, every month, every year, that's more important to me than perfection because the small repeatable actions are the things that help us win and get to where we want to be with our money. But the thing is, sometimes these actions feel too small or feel too irrelevant to be important into the process, and that's why many people overlook them. So the next stage of money here is action. Okay? And I mentioned, I just looked at my bank account for multiple months. That awareness step of looking into my bank account turned into how do I progress this further? Because while it was great that I knew how much money was in there every single day, it's one of the first things I did in the morning. Okay, I'm not really seeing too much progress really. So me looking at my bank account turned into, okay, well, is it going up or down every month? Okay, where am I spending the majority of my money? Basically, this turned into budgeting. I had a terrible app. This was, again, many, many years ago, 10 years ago. Rinky-dinky app, but every time I bought something, I just opened the phone, entered the stuff, and then at the end of the month, I was just able to look and see where all my money was going. Then the budgeting turned into realigning my spending to things that mattered to me the most. And I was like, what if I weaponize this idea of where my money is going and just put it towards things that I care about? All roads kind of lead back to where am I spending my money, right? So in order to do that, if this is kind of a new process for you or you've tried a bunch of things in the past that have never worked, I recommend doing a 3-month look back. And what this is you take the last 3 months of your expenses, however you spent money. If you pay mostly in cash, that's going to be a little harder, but we just look and see, okay, where's my money been going? And then how do I just understand categorically, okay, groceries, okay, here's my housing, okay, here's all the fun stuff I'm doing, where am I spending my money? And then we want to combine that with where do I want to be spending my money? And that's where we implement the North Star goals list. These are a list of, could be 2 things, 10 things, it doesn't really matter. These are the things that are most important to you, either currently or in the future. So they could be life goals, financial goals, and non-negotiables. So once you have those 2 things, then we want to merge them together and be like, okay, I have been spending my money this way, and now I would like to be spending my money this way. So how do I shift, say, hundreds of dollars door dashing every month into putting money towards retirement, building up my emergency fund, putting money towards children's education, right? Whatever the thing is. So if you want to start taking action, I have this 6-week 1K money challenge to help you unlock and find that hidden $1,000 in your finances over a 6-week period. So if you're looking to either get your first $1,000 in the bank or your next $1,000 in the bank faster than you've ever done it before, make sure to check the link below this video, because I go through, what we're going to be doing, and you can apply if you think it's the right fit for you. Which brings me right into the 3rd stage of money, and this is accountability. Oh, we're going to be flying off the building here. Here we go. We're out of the lines. We're drawing out of the lines here. That's appropriate, actually, because I'm using a child's clipboard. So, yeah. This is where I see most people falling off, this accountability stage. So the awareness stage can be the hardest for people mentally to look at something. I totally get that. That's one of the biggest concerns that people have when they start this. It's like, ooh, I'm kind of nervous to look at the thing, whatever that thing is, right? And then the action is pretty tough, because then it's like, well, now I have to change what I'm doing in order to get the outcome that I desire. But then how do I do it on a long enough time horizon? And this is, again, where I think a lot of successful people get stuck, because it's the seesaw effect, and where you get, motivated, or you have a thing and you're all excited about it, but you end up going like this still, because you're motivated for a month and then it falls off, and then you're motivated for 2, and then you're off for 3, and it's this process where you can't really make any consistent progress. And that's what I was talking about in the beginning of this video, where I thought I was doing all the right things, but every month it felt like I had to restart, and I wasn't making any significant, consistent progress. So motivation of a new thing is going to fade, right? Let's say if I use the weight loss example again, it's like, okay, well, in order to lose that 20 pounds, let's just go to the gym. I don't know, every day. We'll make it a goal. We'll go to the gym. We're going to wake up early. It's going to be great, right? So I buy all the gear. I get new shoes. I get new clothes. Maybe I have an accountability buddy or whatever. It's like, yeah, I definitely can't fail. If I'm meeting my friend at the gym, this is going to be so awesome. And that first week, it's like, yes, I'm crushing it. But then week 2 rolls around, and your body's sore, and it's cold out maybe, or it's raining, or maybe you don't feel great. And it's like, I can just go tomorrow. And then boom, that is where the streak starts for losing the motivation. That's when the real work kicks in. That's when it gets hard. And that's why this piece is so important, because if we're dangling a big enough carrot in front of us in order to, keep doing these things so that we can reach that goal, that's where this part comes in. And this is the hardest part to find. So an accountability partner can be a significant other. Obviously, they have similar stakes to you, right? You guys are trying to do something together. It could be a friend, a coworker, a community of, say, hundreds of people online in a community, maybe called Dollar Discipline University. I'm not too sure. But having someone or a group of people who are trying to achieve the same things as you is the most valuable thing, because it's so easy to just fall off or tell yourself that you're going to do it tomorrow. Because consistency doesn't come from motivation. Motivation comes and goes, right? It comes from a system that you can build to create repeatable, successful months to put money towards a financial goal, if that's your main priority, right? Again, if we look at the North Star goals, it might not be a financial goal. Maybe it's life goals. Maybe it's non-negotiables that we're trying to find all this extra money for. And this brings me to the last and final stages of money. And before I reveal it, this is the one that everyone loves to jump to first. Everyone loves to jump up here because it's super fun, it's super sexy. But if we don't have these built in first, it's kind of like if this was the penthouse suite of a building, people try to jump the first 3 floors instead of doing the boring thing of climbing the stairs to get there. And this step is acceleration, okay? everyone wants to start here. Everyone wants to invest or grow their money or build wealth or have their money make their own money or make money while they're sleeping. All those things sound so freaking cool, right? And awesome. But if you end up doing it too early, it can cause massive problems. I've worked with people that they have the best intentions in the world, right? The best intentions. At the beginning of the month, they automate something to go to a money growth thing. I don't know, like a Roth IRA or in their Robinhood account, whatever they want to do, right? And then they do that at the beginning of the month, and then like the 25th of the month rolls around and either an unexpected expense pops up and they have to pull that money out. Ooh, that's tough. Or they just didn't understand, like they weren't fully aware yet, and they didn't realize that, like, oh, this is actually grocery money that I'm putting in here. This is my third week of the month grocery money, and I need it back, right? Not only, so just this is super I don't know, flawed, I guess is the right word, but you know, if you try to grow your money and then take it out, it's like there's tax implications, there's fees and implications and stuff depending on what account you're using, whatever. So like it's super inefficient, but also doing this first can actually harm you more than good, because everyone's intentions are good. Like, oh, everyone says to grow your money to, you know, for retirement or for this thing, and it's like, yeah, we gotta follow the process, okay? And I've been slapped with this too many times, and that's why I just think it's really important. Because you could be up here, right? Let's say this is an awesome penthouse suite balcony, right? And you're here, you're all happy. Maybe you have a drink in hand, right? Awesome. And you're looking at the mountains in the background. Wow, what an amazing scenery. This is you, right? And the reason why you're doing it is because of these people down here on the bottom. You're like, hey, look at me. I'm on this balcony. And these people are like, man, I want to get up here. These are horrible drawings, by the way. Again, maybe it does make sense that I am using a child's clipboard for this. These are the drawings of a child. But this is so common, guys. Growth only works, acceleration only works when the foundation is stable, right? We can't make, if this is our penthouse suite, we can't make just the penthouse suite first. We have to build the foundation. So like if this is the ground here, right? If that's the ground, like we need to build the solid foundation. We need to build the first floor and then the next floor and then the next floor. And it's something, this step happens when everything else is in place. There's a proven order of what needs to be done, okay? Now that we talked about the 4 stages of money, I wanted to do a little bonus section here where I can talk about how I use compounding interest to my advantage in order to pay off all that debt and then in order to grow what I'm calling quiet wealth. This here is the debt payment calculator. I have this resource inside of my personal finance community. And I just wanted to run through it quickly. These are not my numbers. I wish I was tracking my debt back in the day as well as I can do in this tracker that I now provide for people for free, by the way. It's completely free. So let's just kind of go through how the power of finding extra money in your finances can significantly speed up the process of paying off your debt and building real wealth, okay? So how this quickly works is we have a section here for inputs. So you enter the type of your loan, how much you have left as of putting it in, the interest rates for each line, and then the minimum payment. So in this example here, I'm saying this person has $55,000 worth of debt and the minimum payment is $525. So in this section here, let's just say we are good boys and girls and we are only paying the minimums, right? So let's just say for now, $525 a month. And down here, this is where the calculator portion comes into play. There's 2 strategies you need to think about. So the avalanche method, which the calculator will rank your debts in order of highest interest rate to lowest interest rate. So basically this is the best money way to save extra money or whatever, because if we're paying off the highest interest rate first, interest is the thing that is the debt killer, the wealth killer, right? So if we pay that off faster, it works. And then the snowball method, which is the calculator will rank in order of smallest balance to largest balance, okay? And the benefit here is you get the quick win of paying off what probably is your smallest debt a lot faster than if you had like a $20,000 debt that never got paid off. You'd never probably want to keep going, right? So in addition to the input section, we now have these areas of interest paid and months to pay off with the specific date, okay? So based on this information, if you have $55,000 of debt and this exact criteria and you're paying the minimum payments, it would take you, oh my gosh, I'm recording this so it would take you like 29 years, we'll call it 30 years. And the total interest paid is $128,000, which is insane, right? So I see this all the time where a lot of people are walking around saying like, okay, I have $55,000 worth of debt. It's kind of a lot, but like, I don't know, it's okay. But you actually haven't considered the interest that you're going to be paying on that. So it's almost like $185,000 of debt is really how much debt you have. Okay, so how we do this is, let's say we want to, this is just a tool to help you kind of play around with things. So let's say you went through the 4 stages of money and you use some of the other resources that we have in the community to be able to go through that, which I didn't talk about in these videos, but you're doing the 3-month look back, you're doing the North Star goals, you're merging those two things together, and you're finding hidden money in your finances. Most people in the community who go through it are able to find $200 to $1,000 if they do it by themselves, right? Which is so cool. There's people that I haven't even talked to that just went through the thing, they did it, and then they shared a win. Super awesome. So let's say, for example, you find $500 in the first month. So instead of the $525 payment here, let's do $1,025. Now what I want to do, I'm going to hit enter. I want you to look at these numbers down here, right? I want you to look at the total interest paid of $128,000, the debt-free date of March 2055, and let's see how much finding extra money in our finances impacts this. Holy crap. I was not expecting that big of a jump. So it went from $128,000 of interest to just $16,000. That's $112,000 savings, essentially, over the long term. And by long term, I mean 24 years. So now instead of almost 30 years, we're going to be paying off the debt in like 5. That's the power of this, and that's the power of compounding. Everyone wants to talk about compounding our money in a positive way, but no one wants to think about it in a negative way. And speaking of positive compounding interest, I want to jump into the compounding interest calculator, and I'm going to show you, once you've done this, the power of compounding your money in a positive way. All right, we're in a compounding interest calculator here. So let's say you're starting out at 0, right? I have to put 1 here because it won't let me do anything else. Years of growth. So this is the thing we're going to play around with. Estimated rate of return. So if you were to just put your money into a standard market situation where you're just putting it into like an index fund, it has a bunch of companies in it, like let's say the S&P 500, for example, that rate of return is about 12% per year on a long enough time horizon. So to be conservative, we'll just say 10%, okay? And the contribution amount we're also going to play with. So let's say we use our example of $500. So after we pay off the debt, or in the process of paying off our debt, if we just move that money that we're paying, which was actually $1,000, right? $1,025 is what we were paying towards our debt. So once we get that paid off faster, in 5 years, if we just simply put that to investing into something that returns us 10% over that time, we would be putting in, as you can see here, $61,000 of our money, and it would make us almost $18,000 of our money, right? So that's pretty cool. So if we did this $1,000, we transferred it over from debt to wealth creation, that's what we would do. Now, for my wife and I, we were at the point of like, we were putting like $1,500 to $2,000 a month towards our debt towards the end of this thing. And then we just kind of rolled it into the next thing, which was trying to build up our wealth a little more. At the time, we had like the 401k stuff. We had some really simple stuff, but we didn't really put our attention to it. And basically what we were able to do was, my wife and I, at the time, and still we work 9 to 5 jobs. So one of our 4 paychecks, because we made about the same amount of money, one of our 4 paychecks went to specifically just financial goals. And there's this 3-year period where we like exploded our wealth because that's all we really focus on, which is really cool. So now if we extrapolate this out a little bit, this $1,000 to 10 years, you can see that the green line just, gets a little more curvy, right? So this is 5. And then this is 10. So if we do this on a long enough time horizon, in 10 years, this is us putting $123,000 towards our financial goals. And then our interest, so basically free money, is $87,000. Again, using the assumption that this would be a 10% return. So the difference of doing it longer, just to go back here, so $61,000 of principal, 18 of interest. So that's like, pretty decent, right? And then if we change it to 10, and then at some point, the amount of interest that we put towards this is going to exceed the principal, right? So here we go. So if we do it for 15 years, $1,000 a month of 15 years, the interest is now higher than the principal. So the interest is $240,000. The principal is $184,000. And this is where like stuff just starts exploding. So for you, I would go into a compounding interest calculator. It doesn't matter which one, they all work great. And I would just play around with the numbers to figure out what is the moment for you where wealth just starts becoming, I don't want to say passive because I don't really like that, but like the interest that your money is earning is more than the money that you're putting towards it, because that's what happens, and that's what we were able to do over this long period of time. And again, if you're someone that's looking to start or grow your money faster than you've ever done it before and you're interested in the 6-week challenge, check out this video on the screen now. I'm gonna have more information on it and you can see if you apply and if it makes sense. And hopefully I will be able to see you in there to watch you crush your financial goals.